All right, you glorious bastards, strap in because we're diving headfirst into the wild world of esports. We've got articles, notes, research, all sorts of crap to sift through. So consider this your shortcut to becoming a goddamn esports guru.
Yeah, it's a fascinating landscape, to say the least.
Fascinating.
A lot more to it than meets the eye.
Let's cut the crap.
Yeah.
Most people think it's just kids in basements playing video games, but this shit's massive. We're talking serious money. Olympic dreams and enough drama to make a reality TV star blush. By the end of this deep dive, you'll know more about this crazy world than your average Twitch thought.
We'll unpack the history, the games, the money, the scandals, the whole 9 yards.
So back in the day, 1972 to be exact, a bunch of nerds at Stanford threw down in the first ever video game tournament. They were battling it out in the space war. Can you believe that shit?
The grand prize. A year's subscription to a Rolling Stone, a sign of the times, perhaps?
Fast forward to the 80s, and arcades became the OG esports arenas. Remember those high-score battles on Space Invaders and Donkey Kong? That was the primordial soup of esports. We even had a massive Space Invaders championship in 1980 with over 10,000 players.
Street Fighter II in the early 90s changed the game. Literally, one-on-one battles became the norm, laying the foundation for the modern esports landscape. And then you have South Korea. Those crazy bastards went all in on esports in the late 90s PC bangs, which are basically LAN gaming centers were popping up everywhere. They had government support. Esports stars were treated like rock stars.
So while we were busy chugging Surge and playing GoldenEye, South Korea was building an esports empire.
Yeah.
Now, the big question is this shit really a sport? I mean, where's the physical exertion? Are we going to start calling competitive knitting a sport next?
It's a debate that's been raging for years. Some argue the intense mental skill strategy, reflexes, and insane training schedules are on par with physical sports. Others scoff, saying, where's the sweat? Where are the broken bones?
It's a valid question, but here's a curveball. Russia officially recognized esports as a sport back in 2001.
They did try to backpedal on that for a bit, but eventually they reinstated it.
Okay, so the U.S. is finally catching up, offering esports visas for pro players. Even the Olympics are sniffing around, though they're squeamish about the violence in some games.
For now, they're sticking to virtual sports simulations.
But here's the kicker. The 2022 Asian Games in Hangzhou included esports as a full medal event.
That's right, full medal event.
That's a big fucking deal. So we've established that esports is a global phenomenon, but what the hell are people playing?
You've got your Titans, League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, Overwatch, and Fortnite. Each one has its own dedicated fan base and cutthroat competitive scene.
And these games aren't just slapped together, right? They're designed for esports.
Absolutely. They have spectator features, built-in balancing systems, all sorts of bells and whistles to make them exciting to watch.
Hearthstone even brought digital card games into the esports arena.
That's right.
Okay, let's talk money. How much goddamn cash are we talking about here?
We're talking Scrooge McDuck levels of wealth. Dota 2s. The international tournament in 2021 had a prize pool of over $40 million.
Holy shit, 40 million. That's enough to buy a small island and a lifetime supply of Mountain Dew. Are these esports stars rolling in it like rock stars?
The top players are making bank for sure, but for most, it's a brutal grind. The competition is fierce, and the path to the top is paved with countless hours of practice and more energy drinks than a college dorm.
But let's be real, every rose has its thorns. What about the shady shit? Match-fixing gambling, the underbelly of this whole esports beast?
There have been scandals. No doubt match fixing is a problem, especially with that kind of money on the line. Gambling is rampant, especially around Counter-Strike skins, which have become a sort of virtual currency.
But it's not all sunshine and roses. What else should we be worried about?
Performance-enhancing drug use is a growing concern. Adderall, beta blockers, anything for an edge player burnout is another major issue. The training schedules are insane, the pressure is immense, and early retirements are common. And let's not forget player exploitation, particularly in South Korea, where the esports scene is notoriously intense.
So basically, it's a high-stakes game with big rewards and even bigger risks. Now, let's gaze into our crystal ball. What's next for esports? Is this thing just going to explode?
All signs point to, yes, viewership and revenue are skyrocketing, more traditional sports teams, and leagues are jumping on the bandwagon, blurring the lines between the physical and digital worlds.
So will my grandma be watching esports on ESPN someday? Will we see League of Legends at the Super Bowl halftime show?
Stranger things have happened, and with virtual reality and augmented reality technology advancing rapidly, we could be looking at a whole new level of immersive esports experiences. Maybe that's the ticket to Olympic glory.
VR esports in the Olympics.
Yes.
Ah, shit, I'd watch that. Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, any other juicy tidbits you want to drop on our listeners?
Here's something to ponder. With AI getting better at gaming, will we see human versus machine esports showdowns in the future? Who will reign supreme, flesh or silicon?
Whoa, human versus machine.
Oh.
That's some next level shit. All right, you beautiful degenerates. That's it for part one of our esports extravaganza. We'll be back soon to explore the human side of this digital coliseum, the players, the fans, the whole damn circus. Stay tuned, you magnificent bastards.
Welcome back. Last we left off, we were teetering on the precipice of AI-dominated esports. The robots are coming for our joysticks, folks.
Yeah, and probably our jobs too while they're at it. First they take our factories, then our games. When will the madness end? But seriously, can AI really compete with humans in games that require lightning fast reflexes, the twitch skills?
That's where it gets juicy. Researchers have already developed AI agents that can spank professional players into games like Dota 2 and StarCraft 2.
They're already beating the pros. Shit, I'm starting to feel like a goddamn dinosaur over here.
These AI agents are like learning machines on steroids. They analyze mountains of data, develop strategies that would make a chess grandmaster shit their pants, and they do it all at warp speed.
So is this the end of human esports?
Mm-hmm.
Will we all be watching robots duke it out for the championship while we humans weep into our empty bags of Doritos?
I wouldn't lose sleep over it just yet. Humans still have that creative spark, that intuition that AI just can't replicate. My bet is on a future where humans and AI team up, forming some kind of cybernetic dream team.
Human AI tag team. That's kind of badass, actually. But let's bring it back to the meat and potatoes, the human side of things. We've talked about the money, the competition, all that jazz. But what's it really like to be an esports player? What kind of sacrifices do these guys make?
Remember those insane training schedules we talked about? We're talking 8-12 hours a day, hunched over screens, honing their skills, mastering strategies. It's basically a full-time job with overtime.
Damn, do these guys even see the sun? Do they have time to, touch grass, get laid?
It can be a pretty isolating lifestyle. A lot of these players live in team houses where they eat, sleep, and breathe their game.
Sounds kind of culty, honestly.
You're not wrong. The level of dedication and commitment required to make it to the top is insane. It's like a digital monastery.
And what about the toll it takes on their bodies and minds? We touched on burnout, but what are the other health risks? Are we talking carpal tunnel, eye strain, early onset arthritis?
All of the above, plus repetitive strain injuries, back problems, you name it. It's like being a programmer, but with more pressure and a shitload of screaming.
So it's not all glory and riches, huh? Now let's talk about the fans. Who the hell are these people glued to their screens watching other people play video games?
The esports audience is like a goddamn melting pot. Young, old, male, female, you name it. You've got hardcore gamers, casual viewers, and everyone in between.
So it's not just a bunch of teenage boys in their parents' basements anymore.
Nope. Esports has gone mainstream. You see families at events, celebrities throwing cash at teams, major brands sponsoring tournaments. It's the Super Bowl of nerds, but with way more Mountain Dew.
We know esports is huge in Asia, but what about the rest of the world? Are those cowboys in Texas lassoing their way into League of Legends? Are those snooty Parisians sipping wine while playing Counter-Strike?
Esports is a global phenomenon. North America and Europe are hotbeds for competitive gaming, and it's exploding in places like Southeast Asia and Latin America.
So we're talking about a worldwide phenomenon here. A digital coliseum that unites gamers from all corners of the globe.
Exactly. It's transcending borders, cultures, languages. It's a testament to the power of gaming to bring people together.
Okay, enough with the touchy-feely shit. Let's get back to the dark side. We talked about match fixing. But what are some of the other skeletons in the esports closet?
One major challenge is the lack of a unified governing body. Unlike traditional sports, which have organizations like FIFA or the IOC esports, is a bit of a Wild West. You've got different leagues, tournaments, rules, prize pools. It's a goddamn mess.
So it's a free-for-all, no rules, no sheriff, just a bunch of digital gunslingers shooting it out for virtual glory.
Pretty much this lack of structure leads to all sorts of problems, inconsistent rules, shady dealings, players getting screwed over. It's a recipe for disaster.
So what are they doing to clean up this shit show?
Organizations like the International Esports Federation and the World Esports Association are trying to bring some order to the chaos. They're pushing for standardized regulations, player protections, all that good stuff.
So basically they're trying to wrangle this wild beast and turn it into a respectable sport.
Yeah.
But what's fueling this insane growth? Is it just the games, or is there something more to it?
It's a perfect storm of factors: cheaper and better gaming tech, the rise of streaming platforms like Twitch, and the fact that esports is finally being recognized as a legitimate form of entertainment.
It's like the stars aligned and boom, esports exploded onto the scene.
Yeah.
And as technology gets even crazier, we can expect even wilder and more immersive esports experiences.
Exactly.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our esports odyssey, any other mind-blowing nuggets of wisdom you want to bestow upon our listeners?
Here's a thought to chew on. As esports evolves, will we see a shift in the types of games that dominate the scene? Will new genres emerge, or will the old guard, the League of Legends and Dota 2s of the world, continue to reign supreme?
New genres like esports for grandmas, competitive knitting championships.
I'm thinking more along the lines of virtual reality esports, augmented reality games that blend the physical and digital worlds.
VR esports now. That's some next level shit. All right, you glorious bastards. That's it for part 2 of our esports extravaganza. We'll be back to wrap things up with a look at the bigger picture, the impact of esports on society, the good, the bad, and the potentially dystopian. Stay tuned, you magnificent bastards.
Welcome back, you beautiful degenerates. It's the final round of our esports beatdown. We've dug through the history, the games, the money, the scandals, all that juicy shit.
We've seen the rise of esports, the potential for AI dominance, the sacrifices players make, the challenges the industry faces. Now, let's get philosophical for a minute. What does the rise of esports mean for society? Are we all doomed to become basement-dwelling, Mountain Dew-guzzling zombies glued to our screens worshiping digital gods?
That's a bit dramatic, don't you think? While it's true that esports, like anything else, can be taken too far, it also has the potential to bring people together, create a sense of community.
So instead of isolating us, esports can actually connect us.
Think about it. Esports tournaments are like global gatherings of passionate fans. They cheer for their teams, talk shit about their rivals, celebrate the skill and dedication of the players. It's a shared experience, a common language, even if that language involves a lot of shouting and keyboard smashing.
It's like a giant digital sports bar, but instead of arguing about the Yankees and the Red Sox, they're debating League of Legends strategies, and instead of spilling beer on each other, they're spilling rage in the chat.
And it's not just about the fans. Esports is creating jobs, players, coaches, analysts, commentators, event organizers, game developers. It's a whole ecosystem, a new industry.
So it's actually boosting the economy, creating jobs, instead of turning us all into couch potatoes. Damn, maybe esports isn't so bad after all. But what about traditional sports? Are those old school jocks feeling threatened by this new wave of digital athletes?
There's definitely some overlap. We've talked about how traditional sports teams and leagues are investing in esports, recognizing its growing popularity and potential. But I don't think it's a case of one replacing the other. I think they can coexist, even learn from each other.
So instead of a battle royale, it's more like a collaboration, a meeting of the minds between the old guard and the new school.
Exactly. Traditional sports can learn from esports' innovative approach to fan engagement, particularly online, and esports can benefit from the structure, experience, and established infrastructure of traditional sports leagues.
It's like a symbiotic relationship, a weird-ass bromance between jocks and nerds. But let's be real, there's still a lot of stigma around esports. People dismiss it as not a real sport, a waste of time, a path to carpal tunnel and social isolation. How do we change those perceptions?
Education is key. The more people understand the skill, dedication, and strategic thinking involved in esports, the more likely they are to accept it as a legitimate form of competition.
So we need to open their eyes, show them the light, convert the non-believers.
We need to break down those stereotypes, showcase the positive aspects, the teamwork, the strategic thinking, the mental fortitude, the global community. It's not just about button mashing, it's about strategy, communication, and outsmarting your opponent.
All right, final question before we wrap up this epic deep dive. What's the ultimate legacy of esports? How will it be remembered in the history books, assuming we haven't all been enslaved by AI overlords by then?
I think esports will be seen as a pivotal moment in entertainment and culture, a new form of competition, a new way to connect with people, a new frontier for innovation and creativity.
So it's not just a fad. It's here to stay.
Esports is a global phenomenon that's only going to get bigger and more influential in the years to come.
Well, there you have it, you glorious bastards. That's our deep dive into the wild, wacky, and sometimes downright weird world of esports. We've explored its past, present, and potential future, and now it's time for you to go forth and spread the gospel. Tell your friends, your family, that random dude on the bus esports is here. It's real, and it's changing the goddamn world. That's the deep dive for today, folks. Stay tuned for more mind-blowing shit.